This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
My poor intro video is having a hard time playing there. That's something that happened since my solid state drive shit the bed. I thought it'd fix it if I put all the video on the drive that my OS is on, and it did not help. Welcome to the Troll Patrol Live. Good evening. I'm Justin Freakin. It's a freaking Wednesday. We got stupid shit to talk about. What's going on, meat cakes? I'm not high enough for this shit. God damn it. The Media Winch once again on me last night. It was like, Linux. I'm like, I have to be on Windows. I have fucking clients that expect me to be able, like, I have to be able to handle a wide variety of formats and shit, and it just is easier to be on Windows. If I was on Linux, I'd still have to have Windows. So it's just pointless. I hate Mac. I can't do it. Somebody hands me one of their iPhones. Like, hey, here, put some music on here for me. Like, have no idea how to. Give it back to them. I don't know how to do this shit. It doesn't work like everything else works. I'm Android to the core. Ain't no fucking Apple for me. I like open source shit. Clinically, good evening. Welcome in. We got a lot of shit to talk about. The Fed is not going to raise interest rates. That apparently pissed Trump. The Fed is not going to lower interest rates. They're going to keep them where it's at. That pissed Trump world off. We got wild video of Peter Navarro. The Treasury Secretary admits it's their goal to privatize Social Security. Former Vice President Kamala Harris will not be running for the governor of California. Does that mean she's running for president? In what I assume is going to be wild footage, the House Ways and Means Committee had a meeting today. Not on Capitol Hill. In Las Vegas. I'm getting ready to play a committee hearing meeting for you guys that took place in Las Vegas. The fuck kind of shit we got going on up here. And in that clip, they're going to talk about how anti-Semitic Zohran Mamdani is. The whole thing is mind-blowing. Meanwhile, Trump says Nancy Pelosi should be investigated for insider trading. Nancy Pelosi says she agrees with the Pelosi Act. This is wild. Senator Adam Schiff got into it with the judicial nominee earlier today. The GOP voted to change the Texas congressional map. We've got new video of the plane that crashed into a military helicopter outside of D.C. Remember that ICE protester that they charged that was handing out gas masks? Turns out handing out gas masks, not against the law. There's no law against that. We're going to hear from the Oklahoma school board members who say they saw the superintendent with naked women on his TV. A councilman in Virginia was set on fucking fire. We got new details on the New York school shooter. California high school has been sued over a leaked bullying photo And did you have radioactive wasps on your 2025 dystopian bingo card? Because I sure didn't. All that and a lot freaking more tonight on the Troll Patrol live. Good evening. Clinically did have radioactive wasps. Some people are prescient. Carla, Flash, Grease, DJ Dub, welcome in, friends. So glad to see you. Radioactive wasps. It's an actual thing. Happened in South Carolina. So if you're near South Carolina, that's where those pigs got loose last year. There was pigs on the loose in South Carolina. Now we have radioactive wasps. Princess Kimberly. It is still storming like a motherfucker. I've had cats be cowering in the corner all day. Well, I don't want to say all day. I got up and it was beautiful. Yep, cats are scared now. God damn. At least it's not radioactive wasps, though. That's scary. That could be a funny movie. Here is my scaredy cat that needs to be held. He's very much scared of storms. It's been storming for hours today. He's been under the bed. He's been in the bathroom, cowering, whimpering. Poor little dude. So I know it's bad when Maynard is also under the bed cowering with Smokey. Because usually Maynard's pretty chill. He's asleep right now. It's thundering and he's asleep. But like earlier, he was very scared. Yeah, buddy, you're okay. You're okay. Gotta keep him calm. Poor little dude scared of storms. I've got to find a new place to get memes from. Because I used to get memes from Facebook. And I don't have a Facebook account anymore. So I don't have like... Maybe meme of the day comes to an end. I don't have banger memes all the time. I'll have to get on Reddit or something. I don't want to have to get on Reddit. What's this? We've got something here that's usable. That's kind of old news. Okay, there we go. That was kind of funny. When you meet your internet friends in real life. Which is, clinically, I keep getting ads for, I don't know, ads. I keep getting notifications for a specific job in Kissimmee, Florida. They're very much wanting me to apply, it seems. The algorithm gods are like, you need, and the pay is good. I wouldn't not consider it. Cause I need like fucking real money. I need insurance. Cause I need to get my eyes checked. I need dental work. I need a colonoscopy. I'm too old for this shit. I gotta move if someone offers me a job. Ohio, Manitoba. I would go to. There's nothing in Manitoba, is there? I hate Ohio. I fucking hate Ohio. Been to Ohio many times. Do not like it. Last time I was there, I saw Radiohead. That was decent. It was at least a good time in Ohio, as opposed to all the other shitty times I've had in Ohio. I had to go to Ohio 1 week for work, and I couldn't find any marijuana. This was back before marijuana was, legal in a lot of places. And I couldn't find any marijuana before I hit the road. And going to Ohio sober is not something one should do. I did get some beer while I was there. It's in Florida, but nowhere near a beach. Yeah, fair enough. If you're in Florida, you want to be near a beach or at least Cuban food. Cubans can fucking cook. Shitty politics, but they can cook. I just want to throw that out there. Oh, I didn't turn on Kick and Rumble and hey Nazis, welcome in, bitches. Maybe dude that was trolling me on or trying to troll me on Twitter will call in. I've never had Cuban coffee. Cuban food's good, so I'd assume Cuban coffee. I mean, shit. They know a lot more about growing it than we do, I would assume. I think they also grow coffee out in Hawaii, don't they? Hawaii affected by the Russian earthquake that happened. Talking about tsunami waves here.
Welcome to the
you like that transition?
Earthquake off the coast of Russia triggered widespread tsunami warnings, alerts, and evacuations all across the Pacific. It was the strongest quake on the planet since 2011 and the 6th largest ever recorded.
Moderate waves
on
the shores of Hawaii and the U.S. West Coast. In South America, clear across the Pacific from where the quake happened, several countries and island territories remain on alert tonight. But so far, most of the damage has been minor and without serious injuries. Stephanie Tsai leads our coverage.
In far eastern Russia, one of the largest earthquakes in recorded history rattled homes and businesses. The 8.8 magnitude quake toppled parts of buildings, like the facade of this kindergarten.
Now, the epicenter of it apparently happened out in the ocean. So this is not like the brunt of the 8.8.
And thousands of miles from the epicenter, residents of Hawaii swarmed inland as tsunami alerts went off. Officials issued warnings to stay vigilant.
So please take this very seriously and don't go down to the beach. Don't be looking at waves. Get yourself as high as you possibly can.
In Japan, this aerial view of the...
You heard the man. Get yourself as high as you possibly can.
You're Willie Nelson high. You're smoking some of the best dope God ever put breath in.
I can imagine some of the best surfing would be right now.
Eastern coast shows the menacing approach of the ocean. The powerful quake struck off the east coast of Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula, triggering tsunami warnings in Japan, Hawaii, and the U.S. West Coast. The threat reached clear across the world, with Chile today upgrading its warning to the highest level and ordering evacuations.
That makes sense
in
clinically.
Russia, videos
I didn't
showed
think about
the
that.
tremors hitting during surgery at an area hospital. Doctors and nurses bracing to hold the patient steady. Cliffs were shaken from their foundations, cascading into the sea, which swelled with fury not long after the quake.
Yeah, you can see how choppy it is there.
First, sending a wall of water inland and flooding ports. Eyewitness video captured the rushing waters carrying entire buildings away.
It's a bit like throwing a very, very large rock into the sea and then watching the waves propagate away from that rock, that splash. And so that's what's happened in this case, and that's why this particular one has generated a tsunami. It's not huge. It's not one that's going to cause mass devastation, but it will cause coastal flooding and it will cause damage.
That building is a boat now.
Risks if people don't move.
War Machine, good evening, my friend.
In
Cheers.
Hawaii, officials recorded some tsunami waves as high as 5 feet last night.
So we decided.
What a beautiful, like, did you guys see that? What a beautiful view.
High as 5 feet last night.
So we decided just to get out and go to higher ground.
Many heeded the warnings. Cars clogged the streets of Honolulu as people fled to higher ground. Others in hotels and high-rises headed to upper floors. In Japan, residents took no chances, scrambling onto rooftops. It was in Japan that an earthquake and tsunami last wrought mass devastation, including a nuclear meltdown. The 2011 disaster claimed nearly 20,000 lives.
I think of this more as an ocean flood. Storm surge would be another way to think about this with a hurricane or a tropical event.
Scientists who specialize in earthquakes and tsunamis, like Dave Snyder of the National Tsunami Warning Center, say that all precautions are warranted, since the impacts of a tsunami can last for even more than a day.
The most important thing to understand about tsunami is this is not a surf wave, it's not a wind wave. A tsunami is the entire ocean column that is being lifted up above that high tide level there because of that extreme movement of the Earth's crust with the earthquake there. So this is a significant planetary event that we've just witnessed.
On U.S. coastlines, tsunami warnings had been lifted or downgraded by this morning, with no major damage reported so far.
Yeah, all our West
But
Coast
much
peeps
of the
should be
Pacific
okay
remains on
now.
alert tonight, as concern about the threat of significant aftershocks and reverberations in the sea remain. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Stephanie Sy.
Roughly 90% of the world's earthquakes, including Wednesdays, occur along the Pacific Ring of Fire, a series of seismic faults around the Pacific Ocean. All good for now. Worried about aftershocks, but looking to be in good shape. Not a reason for Trump to go declaring martial law, though he has ranted about it. I don't think having anything to do with the tsunami, though. On Truth Social, Trump shared this threat to declare martial law and appoint military governors to restore the rule of law. Restoring the rule of law would be arresting the pedophile con man president, wouldn't it? Sanctuary city mayors are defying federal law. They are insurrectionists, just like the Southern governors during the Civil War. Wow. President Trump should declare martial law in those cities, arrest the mayors, appoint military governors, and restore the rule of law, just like I did, and it has a picture of Lincoln. Is it just to distract? Is it to distract from Epstein, which is still going? And here today, he was asked about the supposed Russia investigation by one of his friendly reporters, and the dude just went off about Epstein.
Cash Patel reportedly found burn bags of Russiagate materials, and we'd love to get your thoughts on that.
He said what?
Burn bags of Russiagate materials.
I don't know
FBI
that.
supposedly found.
I don't know that. I don't know what you mean by that.
Yes, supposedly there are thousands of documents that Cash Patel found in bags in a secret room at the FBI today, or at least they said it today. Information about the Russia investigation that was set to be destroyed. That's what he is saying. That's what the reporter is asking about.
Statement. Say.
Bags full of Russiagate
A
documents.
burn bag. I thought you said appointed a man named burn bag. Go ahead. You got to speak up.
Thousands of documents in these bags, supposedly burn bags at the FBI in the secret room.
Well, I want everything to be shown. You know, as long as it's fair and reasonable, I think it will be shown and it should be shown. And I think he feels that way, and I think Pam feels that way. But it's got to be, it's got to be stuff that really doesn't hurt people unfairly, because you have so many people involved. And if they can do that in a fair way, I think it's great. I think it's really great. The whole thing is a scam. It's a scam set up by the Democrats, and they love talking about it. But I would like to see people exposed that might be bad, and we'll see how that all works out. But it's getting to be very old news. If they had anything, they would have done it the week before the election, because they were losing by a lot. If they had anything, they would have done it. They controlled the file. The Democrats controlled it. Comey and all this, sleazebags, every one of them that you read about all the time. And I guess they've got some problems now having to do with yet a different scandal, very big one. But they control that file. So I would think that
he's clearly talking about Epstein now. At first, you could have been forgiven for thinking he was asked about Russia documents, but no, he's clearly talking about Epstein now.
if they would have had something in the file, they would have released it about a week before the election, maybe 2 weeks, right, Brian? Go ahead.
Mr. President, welcome home.
Amazing. Let's hear from... I saw him labeled as Trump's biographer. Is he writing a Trump biography now? Yes, Midas touch. Labeling him Trump's biographer. One Mr. Michael Wolff, who, if you'll remember, has written multiple books about Trump. Every time he writes one, Trump comes out, talks about how horrible he is, and then he's right there next to Trump asking him questions the next week. It's insane. So I don't know how, Trump clearly likes this guy, but he's also written multiple books about Trump that Trump has railed against. It's a weird situation.
But Trump and his people, his lawyers are, you have to give them give them their due here. They're quite an incredible opponent, and a clever opponent. And their approach now is that they have asked the court to expedite the deposition of Rupert Murdoch on the basis that he is 94 years old and that he might die at any minute, and they won't get a chance to depose him. And that is quite possibly very true. And at the same time, they recognize that no one, certainly in the Murdoch organization, is going to want to put a 94-year-old under oath. And the White House now regards that as a leverage toward a settlement. But there is another aspect of this that is hopeful, maybe, which is to say that the Murdoch people are now in a position to ask the same thing of Donald Trump, essentially to demand the same thing. Here is an overweight man who is almost 80 years old, who too might go at any moment. So can the Murdoch people force Donald Trump into a deposition? Let's realize the deposition might well be the key to understanding everything about Donald Trump's relationship to Jeffrey Epstein. To put the President of the United States under oath and to ask him about the details of this relationship, of their days together and their nights together. What happened? What were they doing? Who were they doing it with? This is not unprecedented. Bill Clinton was forced into a deposition to explain his relationship with Monica Lewinsky. You may remember. And that did not go well.
Rupert Murdoch is merciless, and if he doesn't like Trump, as far as he's used Trump, it seems, but doesn't personally like him. So maybe Rupert is smart, evil, but smart. Let's move to the economy. Fed Chair Jerome Powell made a speech today saying they will not be lowering interest rates.
Total PCE prices rose 2.5% over the 12 months ending in June, and that, excluding the volatile food and energy categories, core PCE prices rose 2.7%. These readings are little changed from the beginning of the year, although the underlying composition of price changes has shifted. Services inflation has continued to ease, while increased tariffs are pushing up prices in some categories of goods. Near-term measures of inflation expectations have moved up on balance over the course of this year on news about tariffs, as reflected in both market-based and survey-based measures. Total PCE prices rose 2.5% over the 12 months ending in June, and that, excluding the volatile food and energy categories, core PCE prices rose 2.7%. These readings are little changed from the beginning of the year, although the underlying composition of price changes has shifted. Services inflation has continued to ease, while increased tariffs are pushing up prices in some categories of goods. Near-term measures of inflation expectations have moved up on balance over the course of this year on news about tariffs, as reflected in both market-based and survey-based measures. Total PCE prices rose 2.5% over the 12 months ending in June, and that, excluding the volatile food and energy categories, core PCE prices rose 2.7%.
Now, you heard him say that energy prices rose 2.7%. Trump says gas prices are down. This is not true.
If you look at fuel, $2.35.
Shit.
A lot of that, but we actually had 4 states where it's down $1.99, $1.99, as opposed to $3.50, $4, and it went up a lot higher than that. They got rid of my policy, and then it went through the roof, and then they brought my policy back, but it was too late. They blew it. We had the highest. If you look at fuel.
All this is happening as Wall Street turning in a record-breaking week, if you were not aware. Stocks dipped yesterday and break Wall Street's record-breaking week-long run. Wall Street's record-breaking week-long run ran out of momentum on Tuesday. The S&P 500 slipped 0.3% for its first drop after closing at all-time high in 6 successive days. The Dow Jones Industrial Average sank 204 points, or 0.5%. The NASDAQ Composite shaved 0.4% off its own record. The fat cat's making a lot of money right now, while everybody else feeling the squeeze of tariffs and sneaking inflation. Peter Navarro was on with CBS attacking Jerome Powell.
I want to walk over to the conversation corner because I'm going to be joined by the
God damn it, Major.
Trade and Manufacturing Advisor. His name is Peter Navarro. Peter is coming out from behind the takeout marquee. It's great to see you. Thanks so much for joining me. Please have a seat.
I appreciate that.
So let's deal with the Fed run.
Coming after Major next.
Boy, that was.
Give me your assessment.
What's with all the fucking ties?
The Fed chair is a lawyer, not an economist, which is a rare thing in the last 50 years.
President Trump did appoint him, and he was reappointed by President Biden.
And the problem is he simply doesn't understand the power of Trumpnomics to actually grow our economy without creating inflation. And for the last 6 months, we've seen every inflation indicator go down. We've seen positive indicators. And I don't know what this guy's thinking.
You don't mean in an aggregate sense. You mean not as high as people were fearing they would go, because there have been some.
Now, Navarro called him a lawyer, not an economist. Is that what he said, economist? Jerome Powell graduated from Princeton University and Georgetown University Law Center, worked as an attorney for 5 years, and then switched to investment banking in the mid-1980s and worked for several financial institutions, including as a partner at the Carlyle Group. He served as Undersecretary of the Treasury for Domestic Finance under President George H.W., left the Carlyle Group in 2005, founded Severn Capital Partners, a private investment firm. He's a visiting scholar and a bipartisan policy center at the Bipartisan Policy Center. First appointed to the Board of Governors on the Fed by Barack Obama.
It's been going down, but we always beat the estimates.
Right.
I mean, today it was like 1% lower than it was last month. But here's the point. It's like when he holds the rates up like he's doing, that imposes real costs on the American people. I mean, if you're trying to get a mortgage,
That's why I mentioned the lagging indicator is housing construction, housing sales, and consumerism around those parts of the economy.
We've got debt that we got to finance. 20 to 30% of the debt we finance is short-term debt that we use. So we're paying tens of billions of dollars more for that. It's suppressing GDP growth. It's probably going to cost us 0.5 point of GDP growth, which is about 750,000 jobs. I don't know what this guy's thinking.
It looks like GDP growth is going to crater.
I don't know what he's thinking.
President's displeased, but he's not going to fire.
What I was hoping for, and I'm still hoping for this, is that the Board of Governors themselves, there's 7 people that make this decision. It's not Powell. He's not a dictator on this. Problem is that 4 of the appointees are Democrats, and then Powell. So you got 5 out of 7 who might be kind of anti-Trump. But they got to get over that. It's like everything says cut rates. We should be at least 50 to at least maybe even 100 basis points lower now than we are. And that would be a tremendous boon to everybody.
Let me ask you some very basic questions about what's coming ahead. August 12th is the deadline for China and the U.S. to resolve its trade differences. The Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, said earlier this week it will probably be a 90-day extension. The Chinese are basically announcing there'll be a 90-day extension. Will there be?
Well, as the boss says, let's see. I never get ahead of that. But things are really going well. They were in, Scott Bessent and Jameson Greer were in Stockholm for 3 days talking to the Chinese. It went very well. We're in a very good place. It's regrettable that the Chinese will not do seemingly anything about killing Americans with fentanyl. That one really hits to home for a lot of people. But that one's going well. So let's just see what happens. We do have over 50% tariff on them, and that's more than appropriate because of the unfair trade practices that they impose on us. So we're in a good place. Look, Garrett.
So what are you saying? There's going to be an extension and that deal's going to get done by year end?
Let's see what happens. I never break news. I just simply report what's happened so far, but try to get behind the scenes.
But you're discouraged about China on fentanyl, and the president is.
Look, they're killing people. I was here in the first term. The president of China said in 2018 he was going to solve the problem for us. And now they've even got a new designer drug, nitazene. I don't know if you heard of this. It's 5 times more powerful than fentanyl. It all comes from China. So that's got to be dealt with. But
within the context of trade talks.
Within the context of trade talks. But the big picture here, I think what I can add today is...
I assume the U.S. invented fentanyl.
The president is doing something.
The chemicals come from China.
Completely, in 6 months, restructuring the entire international trade order that's been screwing Americans since it started back in the 70s. It's unbelievable what we're doing. If you look at every trade deal that we've done, every trade deal that's being negotiated, we're going to be in such a better place. We're going to dramatically reduce our trade deficit. which means we don't transfer wealth, which means we have more.
Is this whole show just for Major Garrett to show off his socks and his tie collection? Is that what this is all about? I'll interview guests and show off my socks and ties.
We're going to dramatically reduce our trade deficit, which means we don't transfer wealth, which means we have more jobs. We have more factories.
I'm coming after Major Garrett next.
Be able to work with these countries in a much more way. I mean, we never had a farm trade deficit until about, 6 to 8 years ago. And now it's like too much. Our farmers are getting killed. Our fishermen
That's why
are getting
market
killed.
access with the EU, with Japan, with South Korea, with other countries is so important.
And the difficulty here, but the beauty of it is that every country's like fingerprints. They're all different in different ways. So we have, Trade Rep Jamison Greer is really good at this. We have like a template that we go in, cross about 7 verticals. It's like, what are their tariffs? What are their non-tariff barriers? Do they engage in digital taxes? Do they have a VAT tax? Or what are they doing on things like fentanyl or other things that they can help us out with? And based on that, they go in, negotiate a deal. It goes to the president. Nothing ever gets done without his approval.
I would have chucked him out a window a long time ago.
I mean, that Japan deal, you look at that, I mean, we're getting like $750 billion of
Trump likes him because he was on fucking TV, or still is on TV.
To invest, this is the kicker here, in all of the things that we are vulnerable internationally with our supply chain. In other words, that money is going to help us resolve a lot of our supply chain vulnerabilities, which both cause us strategic problems, but also create inflation, as we learned in the pandemic.
You're going to stay for our second segment, so we're going to continue this conversation.
That's where you talk about Major Garrett's socks.
How much does resolving the question about the future of TikTok and American ownership factor into a final negotiated trade deal with China?
I'm totally removed from that one, so I can't provide any insight.
You don't know shit about TikTok?
To your
Zero
knowledge,
insight.
You don't know if they're even connected?
Zero insight on that one.
Very good. The president talked about 25% tariff against India today.
Let me tell you what the problem with India is. Apropos of this, every country's like fingerprints. I call India the Maharaja of tariffs. Okay, whereas Japan was the king of non-tariff barriers, the things that you do to block.
Tariffs.
Markets. India is just, they have the highest.
They said terrorists.
And they just won't lower them. And the reason why when we have trouble with a country negotiating with them, they don't want to give up a good thing, right? The other thing that's annoying to the president is that we have a lot of arms sales to our allies, right? We love arms sales. I did a lot of that. I was pointing on.
We love arms sales.
In the first term, you get 2 things going there. It's like when you sell an F-16 somewhere, you don't have to send troops over there. Plus, we get jobs. India buys all their crap from Russia. Okay.
The president wants to change that. Peter Navarro will continue that line of conversation when we come back for our.
The U.S. wants to be the people making the world less safe. Oh, I think Bernie is live right now. Speaking of arms sales, this is Bernie's channel.
Will be sent to the
is
south
live from the Senate
to a
floor.
Humanitarian zone, and from there they will start to leave in great numbers to third countries.
Jelly, welcome in.
Heritage.
They're trying to stop arms sales to Israel currently.
Said that the Israeli government, this is last week he said that, was rushing toward Gaza, being wiped out and driving out the population. There's no mystery about what the agenda here is under the Netanyahu government. So, Mr. President, we're here to debate a continuation of American military weapons that are being used to implement the Israeli Netanyahu government policy. But we're doing it at a time when the horror of starvation has become apparent to everyone. And I applaud President Trump for saying it like it was. There is starvation in Gaza, and then being in conflict with Prime Minister Netanyahu, who still denies it. But America's closest allies are calling for an end to the war. America's closest allies are wanting to cut off the shipment of weapons that sends a green light to Netanyahu's extremist government. And yet, we're here today where just 2 weeks ago, President Trump, in fact, indicated that he intends to ship another $500 million worth of 2,000-pound bombs and
500 million
pound bombs to the Netanyahu government. So, Mr. President, today we're here to debate, once again, whether we as representatives of the American people and the American taxpayers, people who want peace, who want the hostages home, but are horrified at the starvation and the destruction of innocent civilian lives, the wholesale destruction of buildings and communities, whether we should continue to provide those weapons to Israel. These bombs, by the way, are in addition to the 70,000 tons of explosives, 70,000 tons that have already been dropped on Gaza. And that's,
you guys are just rubbing it in chat.
Nuclear explosions. Those bombs, as Senator Sanders said, have been used to destroy more than 200,000 buildings in Gaza. That's more than 3 times the number of buildings in Manhattan. The bombs have killed thousands of kids. The equivalent of a classroom full.
I know. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Has been killed.
I'm trolling you.
A classroom.
Hey, Justin.
And let me tell you just about one strike. It was caused with a U.S.
That's live on the Senate floor. They're trying to stop arms sales to Israel. I doubt they're going to be able to do that, but kudos to them. We're going back to the economy. Treasury Secretary Bessent on a panel with Breitbart gives away the game, how they want to privatize Social Security.
We want you to understand it. We want, it's almost like if you get a pet, you understand everything about your pet. So if you have these accounts, why are you investing it this way? How are you doing it? How can you understand the power of compound interest? And also at the end of the day, that I'm not sure when the distribution level date should be. Should it be 30 and you can buy a house? Should it be 60? But in a way, it is a backdoor for privatizing Social Security. Like Social Security is a defined benefit plan paid out that, to the extent that if all of a sudden these accounts grow and you have in the hundreds of thousands of dollars for your retirement, then that's a game changer too. So we want you to.
So there you go. They're trying to backdoor their way into privatizing Social Security. That's Treasury Secretary Bessent. Meanwhile, over on the Democratic side, Democrats not paying enough lip service to the tech bros. Did you know that? Democrats not doing a good enough job of reaching out to the tech bros. They get the big sad. This is LinkedIn CEO founder of LinkedIn, Reid Hoffman.
Well, I think look, and I regret this and wish it didn't happen, but I think the Democratic Party really did alienate a section of Silicon Valley and the tech people, whether it was attacks on crypto, whether it was, kind of just attacks on big tech, all these things. And one of the things that I think...
Will someone think of the tech bros?
Silicon Valley kind of shares is this deep view that the way you make massive progress for humanity is creating scale technologies. And the principal way of creating scale technologies is companies. And so if you're attacking that and limiting it, then you have all kinds of problems. Now, and obviously, just you got crazy people on both sides. So you got crazy people saying, no, we shouldn't allow any technological progress until you have the exact proportionate of races and genders and everything else. And it's like, no.
Never going to have that.
Yeah.
What?
Technology. It's fundamental. Well, I think the...
When? Be nicer to your tech overlords. I mean, could you get any nicer than what Kamala Harris was? She was totally in the pocket of tech bros.
Breaking news in the race for governor. Former Vice President Kamala Harris has just announced she will not be running for governor. Her potential entry froze the race with donors and candidates waiting on her move. And moments ago, she released a statement here. We do have Alex Michelson joining us to talk all about this as well.
Yeah. I want to read this statement. First of all, this says, in recent months, I have given serious thought to asking the people of California for the privilege to serve as their governor. I love this state, its people, and its promise. It is my home. But after deep reflection, I've decided that I will not run for governor in this election. She goes on to say, for now, my leadership and public service will not be in elected office. I look forward to getting back out and listening to the American people, helping elect Democrats across the nation who will fight fearlessly.
Or she heard the people of California tell her, fuck no, we don't want you to run for governor.
And sharing more details.
But yeah, I think it's more likely she's running in 2028.
So there's, hi guys.
Good morning.
Good
Thank
morning.
you for rushing in with this breaking news.
So there's a lot to unpack in there. Essentially, though, Kamala Harris, I just got off the phone with somebody who's very close with her and familiar with her thinking, made...
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
I don't think it would go well for her.
The decision that she just didn't want to do this.
Didn't want to do politics.
She didn't want to do the governor's race right now. If you look at that statement, she leaves open the possibility of running for president. I don't think she's decided that for sure. She has been in elected office continually for over 20 years. She has not had really almost any time as a private citizen, and part of her thinking was to be able to spend time as a private citizen and to think about how she can be most useful. Part of that is writing a book. Part of that is forming, I think, a nonprofit organization. Part of that is going to be getting out and speaking in terms of trying to get Democratic candidates elected. But ultimately, I think she had to make a decision. Does she...
If she wants to get Democratic candidates elected, she needs to campaign for their opposition.
Want to be governor of California?
Or
is that what she wants to do?
Do you want to be president?
Or do you want to be?
I mean, if you're writing a book,
you can't do both.
Yeah,
you can't do both.
You told us that before.
I mean,
the timing
doesn't really work out because the inauguration for governor of California is January of 2027, at which point the race for 2028 will be well underway.
Right.
So she had to make a decision, even though the governor's race would be a far, far easier lift for her.
Right.
I mean, there's a straight shot. She would be the undisputed favorite in that race. Nothing's guaranteed in politics, but she would be such a huge...
I don't know about undisputed favorite. She would come in with a huge boost because of name recognition, but I think that would be quickly diminished. I don't think it would work out well for her.
Front runner, it would be extraordinary. And so now, essentially, the race is wide open. You got all these candidates who have...
Lenny, welcome in.
They've been running, they've been fundraising, but a lot of the money has stayed on the sidelines because they've been waiting for Kamala Harris to make a decision. Now she's made a decision. The only big domino that still hasn't fallen in the race for California governor is Rick Caruso. He has said that he would make... Kamala Harris said she was going to make a decision by the end of summer. Now we've got that decision. Rick Caruso said he would make a decision after summer, which leads you to believe she was waiting to hear what Kamala Harris was going to do. So does he get in or does he not get in? Does this make him more likely to get in or not? But we have a crowded field of a lot of people that a lot of people don't know that well, which is why this race is going to be so expensive, because a lot of these folks need to introduce themselves in a way that Kamala Harris would not, with nearly 100% name ID.
But then you're wondering if Kamala Harris decides to run for president.
Rooting for Katie Porter again. Socialist Aunt, welcome in.
He has not said anything about anything just yet.
Well, he's clearly running for president. It's just a matter of that, and that would be, look, those two of them have had a long and complicated relationship for decades since they started in politics. They share many of the same consultants. They've had moments when they're close. They've had moments when they're not close. The idea of them running against each other would be something else. And it's possible at the end of this, by the way, Kamala Harris doesn't decide to run for president. So there's going to be a lot of developments on this throughout the day. This is sort of an earthquake in California politics, and we'll have continuing coverage on this throughout the day, including tonight at 5, 6, and 10, and 11 right here on Fox 11.
Thank you.
Also, DJ Dub, candidates with good policies tend to be able to raise a lot of money. They don't need to spend a lot of money, and they're able to raise a lot of money. It's weird how that works. Be able to raise a lot of money and spend it on actual volunteers. Phone banking. That was Mamdani's strategy in New York. But for some reason, which is totally not bad optics here, the House Ways and Means Committee held a hearing about the big, beautiful bill in Las Vegas. We're having a committee meeting, a congressional committee meeting in Las Vegas, where Representative Claudia Tenney apparently alleges that Mamdani is a Marxist anti-Semite.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the witnesses. This is an incredible setting, and I want to thank you, the Young family, for this amazing backdrop that we have, and for a business that was founded many years ago that continues to be successful in Nevada. We're grateful to everyone in your hospitality. I just wanted to first just echo the sentiment of my colleague, Mr. Kelly. I come from New York. It's similar.
Or is she not a representative?
Las Vegas, and you know, right now, the leader of the Democratic Party,
who is Claudia Tenney,
the contender who will likely be the mayor of New York, is a Marxist anti-Semite who believes in taking away the means.
Wow. Okay, yeah, she's a representative from New York. Representative from New York.
Of production from the people, who believes in, you know, a lot of things that are contrary to even our founding views. So this is a difference between whether or not we are a free country where we celebrate the spirit of entrepreneurship and self-governance and freedom, or we go down the road to socialism and Marxism that is advocated, by the way, in the New York State Legislature where I served, where the Democratic Socialists of America are leading New York's delegation. Just wanted to mention that. And one thing, I love my colleague, Representative Moore from Wisconsin. She's terrific, she's smart, but one thing, she's got her facts wrong, because I can't find a district or a company in my district in upstate New York, which is driven by small businesses and entrepreneurs, that didn't actually increase the pay for its employees and actually invest more in its business because of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act in 2017. And they're continuing to do that, and they are all sighing a huge sigh of relief in New York State, because we have reinstated the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act under President Trump, and we are going to see these tax cuts continue. I will not yield. I have too many things I've got to get to, but appreciate it. This is really important for New York. We are fighting against a Marxist regime in Albany, so every small business in New York is struggling. Every senior is struggling because of the high taxes, the high wage rates, the high energy rates, all the things that I feel like are happening under the leadership of the Democrats, not only in New York, but in Nevada, when I read some of these articles about energy and about some of the policies that are being put in place. So I first want to direct
this woman is fucking crazy.
Overman, I want to ask you, You mentioned in your testimony the importance of Social Security on seniors and the importance of having the deduction that we offered for the Social Security. You know, we would
I ran meat cakes off.
Social Security cut on taxes as President Trump wanted. We weren't able to do that because of the reconciliation rules. But we appreciate that. Could you just to give us a few seconds of why this is important to you and why this will help seniors, particularly in Nevada?
It's okay, I understand.
I'd like to also mention that I've lived in New Jersey.
In Las Vegas, we're out here talking about how the socialist in New York is gonna ruin everything, as you're having a fucking House committee meeting in Las Vegas. I can only imagine the corruption that made this happen. My. And that's not good optics. Speaking of corruption in our Congress, Donald Trump calling on Nancy Pelosi to be investigated. I mean, I don't mind.
You know, Nancy Pelosi became rich by having inside information. She made a fortune with her husband, and I think that's disgraceful. What I do think is Nancy Pelosi should be investigated because she has the highest return of anybody practically in the history of Wall Street, save a few. How did that happen? It happened by she knows exactly what's going to happen, what's going to be announced. She buys stock, and then the stock goes up after the announcement's made. And she ought to be investigated. You know,
he ain't wrong. I would be happy to take a good hard look at Nancy Pelosi. And exactly what she's hiding. Nancy Pelosi can be my GOP mommy. I'd give her a titty slap.
A titty slap!
Come on now.
Now this is being spurred on by the fact that we have the Pelosi Act being put forward in the Senate today. Apparently, Nancy's for it. Nancy is for the Pelosi Act.
With a redistricting, because Texas Republicans earlier today unveiled their highly anticipated map of how they would redraw districts in their state.
And we're going to talk about that here in a little bit.
Flip 5 Democratic House seats, make them Republican. Under this map,
go back to drawing the lines. And people don't worry about this. But I have no concern about the obvious investments that had been made over time. I'm not into it, my husband is, but it isn't anything to do with anything insider. But the president has his own exposure, so he's always projecting. He's always projecting. And let's not give him any more time on that, please. We're going forward here, and I'm very proud of my family. And while he might make fun of us, while somebody inspired by him breaks into our home and hits my husband in a deadly fashion, hits my husband over the head, and he thinks that's a riot, I'd rather not go into some of my other complaints about him right now. Rather to talk about the 60th anniversary of Medicaid and Medicare. What a triumph, a great pillar of economic and health security for the American people.
Something about taking a pill.
Over the weekend, a Caring Across Generations initiative of a 60-hour vigil of all of us taking turns, myself, my daughter, my granddaughter, and all the rest taking turns over 60 hours to tell stories of how all of this, what all this means in people's lives. We, since all this has emerged, have had 300,000 calls from our Californians to people in Republican-held districts for them to call, the constituents to call their Republican.
She's got bad service on purpose, just in case she needs to duck out.
Shameful, dirty, filthy, stinking, lousy, rotten, anything but beautiful act. And now we are engaged in the Save Medicaid Summer. So today is the 60th anniversary. It's something to be very, very proud of. And instead of what the Republicans are doing to deprive people of access to health care who need it so badly, people with disabilities who need it so badly, for the children
let me ask you,
who need it so badly.
Polling over the weekend from the Wall Street Journal showed a Democratic approval rating for the party as a whole at an all-time low, with only 33% of voters having a favorable impression of the.
Now, I see a lot of right-wingers citing this as like, oh, see how unpopular you are with the American people? I'm like, no, you don't understand. The Democratic Party is unpopular because of people like me who are unhappy with it because it's not leftist enough. That's where this number comes from.
Party. Do you think the changes to Medicaid that are going to be made because of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, do you think that is going to help Democrats significantly in the midterms next year?
Well, I think we were always going to win. As I said, we only need 3 seats, and Hakeem Jeffries, we're very proud of him, will be the Speaker of the House. But again, certainly the vote that these people took to throw people off of Medicare, to close rural hospitals to the hundreds, and in terms of hospitals and rural clinics and the rest, and to what it does for our veterans and people with disabilities who need help, yeah, it should be helpful. But the fact is, we wish they would just change their vote. We'd rather have Medicaid and not have it as an issue in the campaign. But if it is, we certainly make sure people know how their member of Congress voted. You know, I always repeat,
God,
Lincoln,
she's so bad.
Lincoln said public sentiment is everything. With it, you can accomplish almost anything. Without it, practically nothing. But for that to prevail, people have to know.
She used to be decent in interviews
People know
20 years ago.
in this election when it comes to their well-being, and people are telling their stories. In last 18, when we won before winning 40 seats, 31 of them in Trump districts, 10,000 events around the country, people telling their stories. You'll see a lot of this now, and we fully intend to win. And we'll know even more by September and October when people start filing for election, when you see the A-team that the Democrats put forth and having to, the Republicans trying to defend what they are doing to the American people by voting to cut. Now, our summer is about cancel the cuts. Cancel the Trump Medicaid cuts.
So we just got some news a couple hours ago from your home state of California. We're learning that your former senator and vice president.
Yeah, I don't care. We already did, Harris. She said dream team, didn't she? Flo, welcome in. This was at a Homeland Security Committee hearing on the Pelosi Act.
Can I ask a new guy question here? This is obviously really important.
The Senator Bernie Moreno
to sell every single one of my assets
from Ohio.
Primary. Just be clear on that. But here's my question. Is this really the right way to run a railroad?
Sitting next to the gorgeous senator from Iowa, well, Miss Joni Ernst, looking dashing today.
We're being thrown at us reams of paper, lots of dialogue, and then we're taking a vote. If you had a gun to my head, I could not tell you what we're about to vote for. I have no idea what we're voting for. I was a co-sponsor with Senator Hawley on the Pelosi
Yes,
Act.
Flo.
Pretty straightforward. I read that bill. I have not read the mountains of paper that's in front of me, and I think it's wholly irresponsible for us to sit here. Pretty much, let's be honest, this is a publicity show, and then be asked to vote on something where we have literally no idea what we're voting on. I mean, I'm sitting here asking my fellow senators, like, what do we actually, is there underlying amendment, substitute amendment? These are all words that you guys use every day, but for normal people, these are not normal words. So if there's a way to actually have a conversation,
or you're just,
we understand.
Brother, you didn't research the job that you were going to be doing before you ran for office, did you? You have no clue what's going on because you've never watched a Senate hearing before. Fuck me. This is your Republican senator from Ohio, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, here's the bill. You've read it. You understand the implications one way or the other. And then we can have an adult, intelligent conversation. We pass it. I think it is important for us to restore faith in our institutions. But to just put a vote out there, we have literally no idea where we're
Could have been Tim Ryan.
Gross incompetence and irresponsibility.
So first off, if I may, Mr. Chairman, the substitute was put out Friday. So you've had several days.
Or no, he took out Brown, didn't he?
Minor
Text
change.
was just handed to us.
Well, it is everything that went to your office on Friday with one minor change, is my understanding.
We got
So
it.
the
We
only-
got it when we arrived in the committee.
Hold on one second.
This is my
Senator,
understanding.
with all due respect, look, sending something out Friday through some random computer.
Yeah, he took Brown out.
Is also disrespectful to people on this committee.
Kaya, welcome in.
Why, if we're going to pass something, why wouldn't we have an intelligent?
That said, he took out Sherrod Brown. Not only did Ohio have a really good senator, had a progressive senator, and this dude is his replacement. Ohio, you should be ashamed of yourselves.
Conversation that says, hey, I'm the co-sponsor of the bill. That says, hey, this is what we're looking to change, and here's what it is, and read through it.
I was getting confused. Tim Ryan ran for the seat that is now occupied. Who's the other senator? That was vacated by J.D. Vance. John Husted. It was Tim Ryan versus J.D. Vance.
This is why we thought about it. Let's have a thoughtful meeting. Look, if we ran businesses this way, you wouldn't have to be an entrepreneur to run for office. You'd be flat broke. This is the most absurd process I've ever seen. And again, if we're talking about having faith in our institutions, this is, if you guys think this is normal, all of you have been here too long.
Senator, we do use computers in the Senate. I know that might be kind of weird for you, but we do use those. And we send them to your staff.
Senator James Langford.
My staff looks at the things that come in because it's on a markup, and we go through it. It's actually the bill that passed last session, too.
let's be very
if I may
clear.
finish, Mr. Chairman. And so this is only a change. There was a date certain as to, was it 27, I think, and instead it was changed to the term of an individual. And then let me go back to, I mean, President Trump is treated like every other member. There's no trading within 90 days. We deal with the trading issue right away, which I think is probably 90.
Oh, that mix it up. This
is the trading, and this bill, this substitute deals with it.
This is Gary Peters.
The president, members of the Senate,
from
members
Michigan,
of the House are all going to be impacted by it, and that's what passed last Congress. This is what was in the substitute via computer, as odd as that may be for you. It went via computer to your office. Your staff had a chance to look at. This is a minor change. And that's what we're talking about.
Before we're going to be disdainful of the point, we got the substitute on Friday. We got the modification when we walked in.
This is
The
Rand Paul.
modification is what removes Donald Trump from the bill. It's a big change. The modification vote is what we're going to have. You're right. Substitute didn't include the president. Yes, the bill will treat Congress and the president equally in the bill with the modification. Without the modification, it treats the president immediately. We will be voting to modify the substitute to not have this bill apply to Donald Trump while he's in office. That is what the vote is before us. But I sort of resent you treating our members by saying, oh, you don't know about a computer? I mean, you know better than that.
He complained it came via computer, Mr. Chairman. I was just, I'm sorry.
Mr. Peters, if you want to have a who knows more about technology battle, let's have that battle.
So-
I know more about technology in my pinky than you do.
okay.
Can you
Very
explain
good.
on page
Very
4
good.
and 5 what the changes are? Could you walk me through the changes that were made on pages 4 and 5? Because you know this bill off the top of your head.
The
because you've read it so
changes
well.
with the
So
times.
what's the changes in page 4?
The change in
Deadline.
the change that was made, my understanding is the change was just on the date.
That's incorrect. All right, how about the changes on page 5?
Take a look at.
So you don't know. It was delivered to you on a computer. You didn't read it over the weekend?
Boy.
So what were the changes on page 5?
The dates are changed for us, and that was the change that they
So you
said
don't,
was the
you
only
can't
change.
explain the
you get
changes
the
on page 4 or page 5.
So
Could I just, Mr. Chair, I just want to take a step back. Our staffs did get the substitute. They did brief, at least I got briefed on what it was, and I got briefed on the change that was handed to us this morning.
No, Peters is a Democrat.
Sure, it seems to me, and I just want to be clear. What this bill would do is apply to the president as
I
well
believe
as
she's a
members of
Democrat.
Congress
I forget
to
her
prevent them
name.
from trading the stocks they currently hold within 90 days of the passage of this bill. So that is, in fact, applying to Donald Trump in the present, and I want to be very clear about that. Like all members of Congress in this legislation, Donald Trump does not have to divest unless he were to start another presidential term. And the reality is that he is in his second term, so the Constitution prevents that. But the vice president would have to do the same thing if he were to have another term. We would all have to do the same thing. But it gives members the choice to decide whether they are going to divest or run for office. And that seems to me to be a fair way of addressing some of the concerns that we've heard from opponents of this bill. So I just want to take a step back and be real about what does and doesn't apply to the president right now and what is in this bill, and echo Senator Slotkin's and others' view that this is a major and important step forward. To my colleague from Ohio, we have debated this issue on this committee now for several rounds, including in the last Congress, and there's always somebody who finds some small thing to say, well, let's just wait, let's just delay it. I think the work here has been really good. I think you've heard Senator Hawley agree that as it comes to the floor, if there are other changes or clarifications people want, he will work with them on that, and there is still a chance to vote against it.
This is Maggie Hassan.
Should it get to
from
the
New
floor.
Hampshire, a Democrat.
I just want to echo that I think this is a major step forward and an important piece of legislation to make sure that the American public knows that members of Congress and the President of the United States are not spending their time trading stocks when they are supposed to be working here full-time. Thank you.
But let's be very clear about the timeline. The substitute was distributed on Friday. The modification, most of us, other than Senator Peters, didn't get it.
Just cut Randolph there. That Langford didn't even show up in that, but he was in the title. Senator Adam Schiff apparently got into it with a judicial nominee today. This is Chun-Yi Tung, nominee for U.S. Circuit Judge for the Ninth Circuit. Apparently an originalist.
You just said that you're originalist and a textualist. So let me ask you, the Emoluments Clause provides that no person holding public office shall accept any present of any kind, whatever, from any king, prince, or foreign state. Do you believe the language in the Emoluments Clause that says any present of any kind, whatever, means any present of any kind, whatever?
Senator, you are quoting the text of the Emoluments Clause, and I cannot dispute with the text of the Emoluments Clause.
So it would apply to any present, including an airplane?
It would apply to the president, I believe, your Senator.
Including an airplane.
And I take it as an originalist, you would accept that the founders would have never subscribed to the idea that a president in their time could have accepted a multi-$100 million gift from a foreign state.
Senator, the premise of your question implicates live issues in the public and pursuant to the canons of judicial ethics.
Well, let me just ask you, would the founders have believed that if a president received 100 camels from a foreign state, that was an emolument?
Senator, it's difficult to answer that question in the
Is it, though, as an
abstract.
originalist? Isn't it pretty simple? You've got the clear language of the Constitution.
Senator, one has to look at the language, but also the history surrounding the Emoluments Clause in order to discern.
I am looking at the history. Let me move on to another question. As an originalist, do you believe that the Obergefell versus Hodges decision affirming constitutional right to same-sex marriage, was that wrongly decided?
Senator, Obergefell versus Hodges is binding precedent of the Supreme Court.
I'm aware of that. Do you believe it was wrongly decided?
Senator, as a circuit judge, I would be bound to follow
I understand that, but that's not responsive to my question. Had you been on the Court of Appeals prior to that decision, would you have decided the case that way?
Senator, prior to Obergefell versus Hodges, there was a prior Supreme Court case addressing the issue, and I would have followed that case.
Well, would you have reached the same conclusion as the Supreme Court in Obergefell?
Senator,
Clearly not.
Followed binding precedent.
You're not
by
answering my
interpret-
question. Would you have reached the same conclusion?
Senator, the conclusions that the two precedents reached were potentially in conflict, and I would have to follow the precedent that.
So you can't tell us at this point whether you would have reached the same conclusion as the Supreme Court in Obergefell. So let me ask you about the Supreme Court's decision in Lawrence affirming a constitutional right to be intimate among same-sex couples. Do you believe that was wrongly decided?
Senator, Lawrence versus Texas is a binding precedent of the Supreme
Again,
Court.
I'm aware
and
of
I would
that,
be
but I'm
bound by
asking
that
you whether
precedent.
you believe that was rightly decided or wrongly decided.
Senator, you're asking about my personal views.
No, I'm
and as a
asking you about your
nominee-
legal views. I'm asking about your legal views.
Yes.
Let me ask you about another.
Those aren't
case.
personal
Do you believe
views.
That Loving versus Virginia, which affirmed an interracial couple's right to marry, was that wrongly decided?
Senator, my wife and I are an interracial couple, and so if that case were wrongly decided, I would be in big trouble.
Okay, so you do agree with the reasoning of that case, and you're willing to say that. I appreciate that. But
What about the other
you
cases?
agree that Obergefell and Lawrence were correctly decided. Why is that?
Senator, again, those decisions are binding precedent of the Supreme Court, and I would be
No,
bound
I'm
to
aware of
follow.
that. So is Loving. And you're willing to tell us that you believe Loving was correctly decided, but you're not willing to say the other decisions were correctly decided. That seems less originalist and more situational. Let me ask you this about your role in the brief in Moore versus Harper. This was a case involving the discredited independent state legislature theory, which would allow a state legislature, even in the absence of a governor's signature, to effectively overturn an election. Do you believe that the Supreme Court wrongly decided Moore v. Harper when it rejected your view?
Senator, again, Moore v. Harper is binding precedent of the Supreme Court. and
Yeah, no,
although-
I get that, but you're still not answering my question. So let me ask you a different way. If a state legislature decided after an election to pass a bill, even in the absence of a governor signing it, to throw out absentee ballots that were mailed prior to the election but arrived after the election, would it be your view that a state Supreme Court or federal court would have to allow the legislature to overturn the election, would be powerless to correct that effort to overturn a free and fair election?
Senator, Moore versus Harper states that state courts can review.
I am not
what
high
state
enough for this
legislatures
shit.
have passed as a matter of the Constitution.
No, I'm aware of that. And my concern, though, is that your unwillingness to embrace the reasoning of these decisions means that where there is room, and there is room in all of these decisions, and most particularly Moore v. Harper, for you as a court of appeals judge to narrow these decisions, it sounds like you'll take that opportunity to narrow those rights. And in the case of Moore, which I agree with Judge Luddick, the most important case to our democracy in a century, narrowing that decision means empowering state legislatures to overturn election results, and I cannot imagine a more dangerous idea on the bench. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Shift yields back. They did indeed advance the nomination. Emile Beauvais is a judge now for life, despite the fact that they had ample evidence that the man perjured himself. Insane. We heard it earlier. The Texas GOP redrew the congressional districts, but there's actually speculation. I said it's. I tried to not say it like a redneck, but apparently you got to say it like a. I tried to call him Emile Beauvais, but apparently his name is Emile Beauvais. Like that's how you say. So I actually needed to use my Appalachian accent and dialect. Yes, Emile Beauvais, Beauvais, yeah, Emile Beauvais. I thought it was like French, Emile Beauvais, Emile Beauvais. Or did I get that from a dumbass congressman? No, I think it was somebody that would have known last night when we were watching it. Amel Bovey, I think was the way it was actually pronounced. GOP has dramatically changed the North Texas congressional district in their new redistricting plan, but apparently it might not work out well for them.
Maps that we've been waiting to get our eyes on. Today, Republican state lawmakers released their first proposal to redraw congressional districts.
The rare mid-decade redistricting effort could mean some major changes for voters all across our state, including right here in the Metroplex. Our Caroline Vandergriff with a closer look at how this may impact you.
Republicans in Texas currently hold 25 of the state's 38 congressional seats. The new map ups the total they could win to 30.
Texas Republicans are going all out. They're trying to fulfill Donald Trump's goal of flipping 5 Democratic-held seats.
The GOP had to dramatically alter several North Texas districts to do so. District 33, which is currently represented by Democrats.
But now what could happen, see, Trump is demanding that they do this. What could happen is they diluted a lot of the districts that they had packed, and in a wave election, which 2026 could absolutely be, it could actually work out in Democrats' favor.
Mark Vesey has been moved out of Tarrant County completely. District 32, currently anchored in Dallas and represented by Democrat Julie Johnson, would be reshaped to favor Republicans by shifting its boundary lines and picking up parts of Rockwall County.
They've extended some of the districts out into East Texas and into West Texas, where you have more reliable Republican voting bases, meaning that the overall weight of the Dallas-Fort Worth area will be lower.
Political science professor Mark Jones says the proposed map would likely cut the number of Democrats.
Ironic, if a cow could, it would kill you and everyone you love. Don't you forget it.
Democrat members of Congress representing North Texas from 3 down to 1 or 2. Republican political consultant William Busby believes that accurately reflects what we saw in the 2024 election.
We are seeing the trend of the voters in the suburbs and in the more rural areas. They are voting Republican. They are voting for Republican principles. And these maps, they reflect the trend and the voting behavior of the voters in the state of Texas.
But Democrats say this map is a result of racially motivated gerrymandering at the request of the president.
It's the pathway to authoritarianism. This is racism. It is manipulation. It's a civil rights travesty.
He said the trend is towards Republicans, but that's only in this last election in 2024. The trend in Texas absolutely had been towards Democrats for like the last 15 years.
At public hearings, including one in Arlington on Monday, has been overwhelmingly against redrawing boundary lines. And Texas House Democrats have said they're willing to do whatever it takes to fight redistricting, including potentially leaving the state to break quorum. So experts say this particular proposal is setting things up for a major political showdown this special session. In Tarrant County, I'm Caroline Vandergriff, CBS News, Texas.
He got his flea meds yesterday. He's been kind of pissed. And then it's stormed, so he's been under the bed. Remember back in January when we had a plane that hit a helicopter outside of Washington, D.C.?
Good evening, I'm John Dickerson.
I'm Maurice Dubois.
Exactly 6 months ago, we started this broadcast at the scene of the nation's deadliest plane crash since November of 2000.
No, Socialist Aunt, no. Let me tell you what they did the one time we've had a mouse. Little itty bitty like titmouse, right? They just cornered it. It was Smokey and Maynard. Socks had nothing to do with it. Smokey and Maynard cornered it and just fucked with it for hours. Wouldn't kill it. Only tortured it. It would go and like Smokey put its hand on its tail and then like Maynard smack it on the head and then they just like lord over it. It was the wildest thing. And then like I sent Sparkles pictures and videos and she got really excited. Yeah, I think Socks was kind of off to the side watching. But Maynard and Smokey, they had like one on one side, one on the other. They had like a pincer attack going on. And they would not let it go anywhere. And seriously, if I hadn't have stopped it, they would have tortured that mouse all night long. And Sparkles want me to let them. One time Smokey came in from the back patio, had a lizard in his mouth. A whole ass lizard. The fucking tail was hanging out his mouth. And he's just walking around, not chewing it or anything. He's just got it in his mouth. I mean, if they eat my eyes out, then they were hungry and they needed to, and like I would totally give my body for their sustenance. If like I died and like they need to be rescued and nobody's come yet, eat my eyeballs out. That was his friend. I don't know. I don't think the lizard would think that he was Smokey's friend. Yeah, I ended up letting that mouse out after, and I probably did the mouse a disservice, right? Fucking, the cat's probably broke its legs and shit. I let it out and it didn't stand a chance. It died because it had been mangled by cats. Because I was like scared of the mouse. I didn't want to touch it. So that's how the cats were able to fuck with it for so long. Mice don't live that long. That was years ago. Back in January, we had an airplane that hit a helicopter. You guys remember that? It was a big deal. They had an NTSB hearing on it today. We got some footage of the crash.
Good evening, I'm John Dickerson.
I'm Maurice Dubois.
Exactly 6 months ago, we started this broadcast at the scene of the nation's deadliest plane crash since November of 2001.
Today, the National Transportation Safety Board began a 3-day investigative hearing looking into what led an Army Black Hawk helicopter to collide.
The question is, did they invite Nathan Fielder? If you didn't invite Nathan Fielder, you were not serious about... Oh, I thought the helicopter's name was a Smokey. I thought we were looking at a Smokey helicopter. Like, named after my cat.
Midair with an American Eagle jet near Reagan National Airport. There were no survivors.
Family members watched and listened to testimony about a crucial but glitchy gauge aboard the Army helicopter and broken communication with air traffic controllers.
Our senior transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve has been covering the crash since it happened, and he leads us off tonight.
Chris Van Cleve. Isn't he an old Western store?
Crash. The NTSB has been going through wreckage and data, trying to figure out why this accident happened. For the families of the 67 lives lost, today was a difficult day, in part because the NTSB released new video, and it is our clearest view yet of this tragedy. Looking out from the edge of a runway at Washington Reagan National Airport, you can see American Airlines Flight 5342 on approach to land, when the Army Black Hawk helicopter appears to the left on a collision course. The crash killed 67 people.
We went from a family of 4 to a family of 2, kind of in a blink of an eye.
Doug Lane's wife and 16-year-old son were on the plane coming back from a skating competition in Wichita.
When we had an opportunity to go to the crash site in January, strikes you is just how close they were to being on the ground.
We are working diligently to make sure we know what occurred.
The National Transportation Safety Board is now in the midst of a 3-day investigative hearing in Washington focused on answering investigators' lingering questions. At the time of the crash, the helicopter should have been flying below 200 feet, but it was at least 70 feet higher. Investigators are focused on potentially inaccurate altitude readings from the Black Hawk that in testing were found to be off by as much as 130 feet. NTSB Chair Jennifer Homendy. If the helicopter was telling them with plus or minus 100 feet their altitude, how significant is 100 feet in this case?
It's significant in this case. Helicopter Route 4, which went along the Potomac, in that area, we calculated that the margin of error was 75 feet. So a 100-foot difference is significant.
The chopper pilots were wearing night vision goggles. The NTSB released this image of how air traffic in the area may have appeared in their limited field of vision. Newly released transcripts from the airplane's cockpit voice recorder show the pilots received an automated verbal warning about traffic in the vicinity approximately 20 seconds before the collision. Less than 2 seconds before impact, the pilots shouted out in alarm. Flight data indicates they then attempted to climb aggressively to avoid the helicopter.
I know that my son saw that helicopter 1 second before impact, and they tried very hard to avoid it.
Tim Lilly's son Sam was the airliner's co-pilot.
Sam was a good pilot, and he would have been trying to fly that aircraft all the way to the bottom.
Black box data from the helicopter indicates those pilots never saw the airliner they were about to fly right into.
Chris, I keep coming back to the altimeter being off by 130 feet. That's hard to get your head around. Is that the norm? I mean, why are they not more accurate?
Well, there are acceptable deviances, but the NTSB found in their testing that this was performing outside of even the acceptable margin of error. The problem here is that even with a margin of error, your clearance was 75 feet. That's just not enough to safely operate in airspace.
Chris, is the emerging picture that there is a single point of failure or that this might be a bunch of stuff piled together?
National Airport, you can see American Airlines Flight 5342 on approach to land, when the Army Black Hawk helicopter appears to the left on a collision course. The crash killed 67 people.
We went from a family of 4 to a family of 2, kind of in a blink of an eye.
Doug Lane's wife and 16-year-old son were on the plane coming back from a skating competition in Wichita.
When we had an opportunity to go to the crash site in January, strikes you is just...
National Airport, you can
That's
see
wild video.
Flight 5342.
Yeah, they paused it on impact there.
When the Army Black Hawk helicopter appears to the left on a collision course. The crash killed 67 people.
We went from a family of 4 to a family of 2, kind of in a blink of an eye.
Doug Lane's wife and 16-year-old in alarm. Flight data indicates they then attempted to climb aggressively to avoid the helicopter.
I know that my son saw that helicopter 1 second before impact, and they tried very hard to avoid it.
Tim Lilly's son Sam was the airliner's co-pilot.
Sam was a good pilot, and he would have been trying to fly that aircraft all the way to the bottom.
He drove it right into the ground. Disturbing footage shows ICE arresting yet another citizen. We keep having videos like this pop up. Imagine how many people citizens they are assaulting and accosting that we don't ever hear about. Happened on May 2nd. They said, who is here legally? If you don't tell the truth, you will get more charges and spend more time in jail. Me, I'm here illegally. Teenager Kenny Langs Brazio, driving to work with friends. When highway patrol officers asked everyone in the van to identify themselves.
Hold up.
Hold up, nothing. What?
You guys have no rights to do that.
We don't have rights to do that?
No. Pero por qué?
So he's secretly recording this video. One man was tasered and another was put in a chokehold.
Wait, get back. You can't grab me like that. You can't grab me like that. Okay. Put your fucking head down. Get on the ground. That's not how you arrest people. Get on the ground. That's not how you arrest people. Get on the ground. Now, on the ground. All right, but you're not on the ground. All right, hold on. All right. Hey, what you guys doing? That's not how you arrest people. If y'all gonna arrest people,
got him in a chokehold.
Regular. What y'all doing, bro? Hey, Kevin.
Front face lock.
No resistance. What am I doing? Hey!
Now tasing him.
Hey, y'all can't.
Oh, for a prolonged amount of time.
You can't be doing that. I'm from here also. Get on the ground! Okay, get on your feet, sir. Get up. Roll on your side. Roll on your side. I can't, bro. They gonna push me. They gonna do whatever they were doing to him. No, I'm not gonna get up. I'm not gonna get up. I'm gonna just stay like this. Bro. Y'all scaring the dude, bro. That's not how you arrest people. Quiet. Here, I can take him. I got rights to talk, bro. You got no rights here. I do. You're illegal, brother. Get up. I was born in.
No, this is a citizen.
I was born and raised here. I have the right to talk.
Okay, all right.
Agents can be heard bragging and making light of the arrest.
Once you got that proper spread on him, keep him going. You're funny, bro. Who's funny? You guys sound like shit. He does. Starting to resist more now. We're gonna end up shooting some of them.
We're going to end up shooting some of them because they're going to start fighting.
Like this kid goes
like,
hey, no, you can't do that.
no, you can't do that. I'm not doing shit.
Wait, we told you already to get out. You either get out or I'm gonna pull you out. Right. Yep. God damn.
It says we're going to have to start shooting them.
Nice. Just remember, you can smell that too with a $30,000 bonus. Yeah. Yeah, that one that we tased. Can you just give me a call? If you want, I'm going to cooperate around. He's being a dick. That's the one we tased.
He was being a dick. That's why we tased. I believe this happened yesterday. Arabic man was leaving his court hearing. It had been deferred until 2027. He leaves court and gets accosted by ICE. Apparently speaks no English. Disgusting. Another case I wanted to highlight. I'm trying to go back and make sure I have all of them that we need to talk about here. The Justice Department has dropped cases against LA protesters, revealing false claims from federal agents. U.S. immigration officers made false and misleading statements in their reports about several Los Angeles protesters they arrested during the massive demonstrations that rocked the city in June, according to federal law enforcement files. The officer's testimony was cited in at least 5 cases filed by the U.S. Department of Justice amid the unrest. The Justice Department has charged at least 26 people with assaulting and impeding federal officers and other crimes during the protests over immigration raids. Prosecutors, however, have since been forced to dismiss at least 8 of those felonies, many of which relied on officers' inaccurate reports. Justice Department has also dismissed at least 3 felony assault cases it brought against Angelenos accused of interfering with arrests during recent immigration raids. The rapid felony dismissals are a major embarrassment for the Trump-appointed U.S. Attorney for Southern California, Bill Essayli, and appeared to be the result of an unusual series of missteps by the Justice Department. 1 out of 9 assault and impeding felony cases the Justice Department filed immediately after the start of the protest and promoted by the Attorney General. Prosecutors dismissed 7 of them soon after the filing of the charges. In reports that led to the detention and prosecution of at least 5 demonstrators, DHS agents made false statements about the sequence of events and misrepresented incidents that were captured on video. One DHS agent accused a protester of shoving an officer when footage appeared to show the opposite. The officer forcefully pushed the protester. One indictment named the wrong defendant, a stunning error that has jeopardized one of the government's most high-profile cases. As we're talking about charges dropped against protesters, we watched the video of the protesters handing out gas masks in front of the courthouse. Charges dropped against Alejandro Orellana, a man charged with distributing face shields to protesters in L.A., whose arrest was touted by Trump allies as a big win. The reason the case was dismissed is because it's not illegal to hand out face masks. Literally committed no crime. This is coming to your area. Going to the Intercept. Very rare we go to the Intercept nowadays. The Pentagon won't track troops deployed on U.S. soil, so we will. The Pentagon says 20,000 federal troops have been deployed to support ICE across the country. The real number may be markedly higher. His first 6 months in office, President Donald Trump has overseen the deployment of nearly 20,000 federal troops on American soil, including personnel from the National Guard, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and Marines. But the true number of troops deployed may be markedly higher. When asked directly, the Army said it has no running tally of how many troops have been deployed. These federal forces have been operating in at least 5 states: Arizona, California, Florida, New Mexico, and Texas, with more deployments on the horizon, all in service of the Trump administration's anti-immigration agenda. As experts say, military involvement in domestic anti-immigration operations undermines American democracy and has nudged the United States closer to a genuine police state. The president can use the military as a domestic police force entirely under his control. It can be used as a tool of tyranny and oppression. Meanwhile, their detention center in Florida apparently, they are arguing that The Justice Department is arguing it's under the state control, and they have no jurisdiction. It's a really weird series of pass the buck here.
Leaving for Europe, President Donald Trump emphasized this isn't the first lawsuit filed against a sanctuary jurisdiction, and it won't be the last.
Wait, is this the right story?
Filing with other cities too. As you know, we've started numerous.
It's one of those where the story doesn't match the video. Civil rights lawyers seeking a temporary restraining order against an immigration detention center in Florida Everglades say that Alligator Alcatraz detainees have been barred from meeting attorneys, are being held without any charges, and that a federal immigration court has canceled bond hearings. The immigration attorneys argued Monday during a virtual hearing that the detainees' constitutional rights were being violated and that 100 detainees already had been deported from Alligator Alcatraz. Lawyers who have shown up for bond hearings for Alligator Alcatraz detainees have been told that the immigration court doesn't have jurisdiction over their clients. And the civil rights attorneys demanded that federal and state officials identify an immigration court that has jurisdiction over the detainees so it can start accepting petitions for bond. This is an emergency situation. Eunice Chow, an attorney for the American Civil Liberties Union Foundation, said during a hearing in federal court in Miami, officers at Alligator Alcatraz are going around trying to force people to sign deportation orders without the ability to speak to counsel. But Nicholas Maros, an attorney representing Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, said the situation had evolved since the civil rights group's lawsuits was filed in July 16th. Video conference rooms had been set up so detainees can talk to attorneys, and in-person meetings between detainees and attorneys had started. There have been a number of facts that have changed, Maros said during Monday's hearing. U.S. District Judge Rodolfo Ruiz, an appointee of Donald Trump, didn't make an immediate ruling. He asked the civil rights attorneys to refile the complaint to consolidate their pleadings as a request for a preliminary injunction, and he set a briefing schedule that will end with an in-person court hearing on August 18th. The judge warned that his role was to provide relief to any proven unconstitutional violations, and said that attempts to transform the court into the warden of Alligator Alcatraz is not going to happen here. Well, who does oversee the fucking facility? Fuck you, you fucking fascists. If you want to, you can send me to Alligator Alcatraz. Fuck you, Trump. Fuck you in the ass. Fuck you, Pam Bondi. Fuck you, J.D. Vance. Who else do I need to name? Fuck you, Basant. Fuck you, any of the cabinet officials. Hegseth. Fuck you all in your asses. Send me to Alligator Alcatraz. Fuck you all in you asses, you bunch of fucking fascists. Anyway, let's talk about some pornography. Going back to Oklahoma. Oklahoma State Department of Education members say they saw naked women on TV screens presented by Superintendent Ryan Walters.
Covering news that matters. Fox 23 News at 9 starts right now.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of the state capitol. Tonight, Fox 23 talked to and confirmed with two members of the Oklahoma State Board of Education that they saw sexually explicit images of naked women on a screen inside State Superintendent Ryan Walters' office yesterday. Thanks so much for joining us at 9. I'm Shay Rozzi. Nathan has the night off. Speaker of the House, Kyle Hilbert, is now calling for a thorough investigation into the matter. Fox 23 in-depth anchor Rick Marinon explains the allegations and how Walters is responding.
Shocking allegations coming out of the state capitol against a man who has campaigned on keeping porn out of Oklahoma's public schools.
Edmond Public Schools is fighting to keep pornography on their shelves and are challenging our rule to keep pornography out of the classroom. This is unbelievable.
Two members of the Oklahoma State Board of Education tell Fox 23 News they saw sexually explicit images of two naked women play out on a TV screen connected to a computer inside State Superintendent Ryan Walters' office during Thursday's executive session. Board member Ryan Dethridge tells Fox 23, quote, "Yes, I saw nude women." Board member Becky Carson says in a statement to Fox 23, quote, "I was appointed to the State Board of Education to serve Oklahoma students to the best of my ability. The images that board members were exposed to yesterday in this meeting were shocking and at the very least inappropriate. There has to be accountability." Fox 23 has also spoken with board members Mike Tinney and Chris Vandehend, who were also in the room. Vandehend says he did not see the images because his back was turned to the TV during the meeting, but Carson and Dethridge shared their concerns with him after the meeting, and he says he believes them. Tinney tells Fox 23 he also could not see the screen from where he was sitting, but at one point during the meeting, Carson stood up, pointed at the screen, and said repeatedly, "I see naked women. I see naked women." Tinney then says Walters stood up, so that's not...
I can imagine like a 4-year-old saying that. I see naked women. I see naked women. I know. This is fantastic.
Shocking and at the very least inappropriate. There has to be accountability. Fox 23 has also spoken with board members Mike Tinney and Chris Vandehend, who were also in the room. Vandehend says he did not see the images because his back was turned to the TV during the meeting, but Carson and Dethridge shared their concerns with him after the meeting, and he says he believes them. Tinney tells Fox 23 he also could not see the screen from where he was sitting, but at one point during the meeting, Carson stood up, pointed at the screen, and said repeatedly, "I see naked women. I see naked women." Tinney then says Walters stood up, said that's not supposed to be there, and turned off the images. After reading the claims, Speaker of the House Kyle Hilbert called for an immediate investigation and released a statement saying, quote, "These are serious allegations made by two members of the state board, and an expeditious third-party review is warranted. I urge the state superintendent to unlock and turn over all relevant devices and fully cooperate with an investigation. If no wrongdoing occurred, a prompt and transparent review should quickly clear his name." Fox 23 reached out to Walters, who says the board members are appointees of Governor Kevin Stitt, who just this year became his political foe, and redid the makeup of the Board of Education. Walters says the two had a fight over green energy policy. Stitt says the board needs to focus more on reading and math. Walters said on the allegations, quote, "Some of these board members are blatantly dishonest and cannot hide their political agenda. It is disappointing that they are more interested in creating distractions than getting work done for Oklahoma families."
Would not surprise me, Flo.
Were not at Thursday's meeting. In a statement to Fox 23, Stitt says, quote, "I trust and appreciate my board members. They are volunteers who are sacrificing their time to serve Oklahoma students. Should these allegations be true, all I can say is that I am profoundly disappointed." Walters has called some teachers perverts during his tenure. Dethridge says the superintendent needs to be held to his own high standards and pointed to the fact that Walters has been eager to suspend and revoke teaching certificates
always repression
on moral grounds since taking office. Quote, "As an appointed member of the Oklahoma School Board, it is my top priority to protect the well-being of Oklahoma students. We hold educators to the strictest of standards when it comes to explicit material. The standard for the superintendent should be no different," Dethridge told Fox 23 in a statement. Covering news that matters, I'm Rick Marin on Fox 23 News.
Senate Pro Tem Lonnie Paxton and Senate Education Chairman Republican Adam Pugh also released their own statements tonight. Paxton says in part, quote, "This is a bizarre and troubling situation that raises serious questions about the events and what took place during yesterday's executive session."
It's not bizarre. Repression. It's always repression.
At the Oklahoma State Board of Education meeting. The accounts made public by board members paint a strange, unsettling scene that demands clarity and transparency. Representative Pugh says in part, quote, "This is a situation that warrants further explanation and transparency. Additionally, Superintendent Walters and those making the allegations deserve to be heard and give their side of the story. I appreciate the efforts by everyone who are taking these allegations seriously. We'll be watching closely as more information comes to light."
It's the he who smelt it dealt it principle. You accuse somebody of farting because you're the one that actually farted. Try to take the heat off of you. A city councilman in Virginia was doused with gasoline and set on fucking fire. There's a wild ass story going on here.
And good evening. We are following this breaking news tonight out of Danville, where a city councilman has literally...
We're transitioning from politics into crime, in case you can't tell. Michael, welcome in.
Been set on fire.
Lee Vogler was attacked this morning at the offices of Showcase magazine where he works. Danville police say that a man forced his way into the office and poured gasoline on Vogler. Vogler ran out of the building. The man followed him and then lit him on fire.
Obviously, this is a big story. It's even a national story tonight. We have team coverage for you. 10 News reporters Samuel King and Ethan Ellis are live tonight in Danville. We want to go first to Samuel, who is live outside Danville City Hall. Now, Samuel, we've been reporting some of the facts of the story today. Have we had any updates about how the councilman is doing?
Hey, we're still awaiting word about that, John and Rachel. We do know he was taken to a regional medical facility, and as you can imagine, those injuries were pretty severe. Also, reaction continuing to come in from political figures here in Danville and from across the Commonwealth. We begin with Governor Glenn Youngkin, who posted on social media earlier. Our prayers go out to Danville City Councilman Lee Vogler, who was violently...
Let's hope there is video somewhere of this.
Today, we pray for a swift recovery, Lee, and for peace to be on the entire Danville community. While the mayor here in Danville, Lonzo Jones, asking for prayers as well, saying in a statement, "Today our community was shaken by an unthinkable act of violence against Councilman Lee Vogler, our colleague, our friend, and someone we care about deeply. Lee is a member of our city council family, and today that family is hurting." We also ran into Senate President Pro Tem Louise Lucas, who is on her way to Roanoke for a groundbreaking ceremony tomorrow. She did tell us off camera that people like Vogler offer themselves to serve their communities. She went on to tell us that there is no place in the world for that kind of hatred. Continuing to gather reaction, we'll have more for you throughout the evening. Live in Danville, Samuel King, 10 News, working for you.
All right, thank you, Samuel. Our team coverage continues now with Ethan Ellis.
And Ethan, a lot of community reaction pouring in. We're seeing it on social media, public figures across Virginia. It's now a national story. What can you tell us about this?
Well, John and Rachel, I'm standing right across the street from where this all happened this morning, and it started when a man
is a suspect in custody.
The cream color building. That is the magazine office. The man allegedly dumped a bucket of gasoline on Vogler. Now, Vogler ran outside and was found in front of the church by first responders. Now, this is a call that came into 911 around 11:30 this morning when EMTs were dispatched to the scene.
Taylor, you are inbound to pick up a 38-year-old male patient. Patient was doused in gas and set on fire, has full thickness burns.
The man did run from the scene, but police pulled over his car and arrested this man shortly after. The man has been identified as 29-year-old Shotzi Buckhays of Danville. He's being charged with first-degree attempted murder and aggravated malicious wounding.
Shotzi Buckhays? What?
Police pulled over his car and arrested this man shortly after. The man has been identified as 29-year-old Shotzi Buckhays of Danville. He's being charged with first-degree attempted murder and aggravated malicious wounding. Councilman Gary Miller.
Were we supposed to have a picture of him?
A fellow council member, but also a friend.
We're just all praying for him. We're pretty close council members. We call ourselves we're family, and although we may disagree politically sometimes, we're all good friends, and it's just one of the family has been injured.
Now, police say Vogler and Buck Hayes did know each other, but the attack wasn't because of Vogler's position on city council. Of course, we'll update you with anything else we get here at the scene on WSLS.com. Live in Danville, Ethan Ellis, 10 News, working for you.
That was that dude they showed earlier in the piece. Shotzi Buck is like a nickname. Hayes is his last name. So Buck Hayes is what his friends call him. So you say it all together like that. Shotzi Buck Hayes. What? What kind of a fucking name is that? Shotzi's still a weird name for a dude. But his nickname was Buck. Let's get an update on the shooter in New York City. Once again, praising. He took out a CEO. I've seen people with the conspiracy theory that he was actually there to take out a CEO, and the media is whitewashing it, but every indication is that he was there after the NFL. That seems to be what his manifesto said, but they found another note in his apartment in Las Vegas, as well as more ammo.
And an entire city are now remembering the lives lost in Monday's deadly Midtown shooting.
Today, loved ones gathered to say goodbye to Julia Hyman, one of the 4 innocent people killed.
Yeah, someone who suffers from CTE got the wrong floor.
As the
it checks out.
The investigation is pushing forward.
NYPD detectives are now in Las Vegas, where a search of the suspect's apartment turned up live ammo, a rifle tripod, and what they called a suicide note. 2 phones were found at the scene, were searched. They are also expected to meet with the suspect's parents.
And tonight we do have team coverage once again of this tragedy and its far-reaching impact. Alan Devlin heard from family and friends of the victims today. Let's begin with Masa Saidi. She is live in Las Vegas, where the NYPD has uncovered new information about the shooter. Masa.
KJ, Jessica, we've learned that the defendant did not purchase this rifle. A co-worker who lives in this community did, and then sold it to the defendant, according to police sources. We're also learning from the NYPD that right now authorities in Las Vegas are trying to determine whether that sale was legit and by the book. This, as we're learning about a second suicide note.
Although we sign up for the danger of the job, you never expect that when you leave the house, you're not going to come home.
As Nevadans mourn the mass shooting in New York, tonight new details about shooter Shane Tamora. The NYPD says they searched his Vegas apartment Tuesday and found a note left for family. When I look into you and Dad's eyes, all I see is disappointment. I love you, Mama. I'm sorry. Investigators now waiting on a warrant to search his work locker at Horseshoe, Las Vegas. At the gunman's apartment Tuesday, police say they also recovered 100 live rounds of ammo, prescriptions, including antipsychotic medicine.
And we have,
but yet he was able to legally buy guns.
Laws are working, but what happens is our sanctity, our safety is violated when someone can so easily come across the state lines and drive a vehicle here with intent to murder.
In New York, growing outrage as officials partly blame the tragedy on looser gun laws in other states. State Assembly member Charles Levine sending this letter to Nevada's governor, asking, quote, how someone with a history of mental health problems was able to procure a concealed firearms permit. Tamora had a CCW permit. After it was issued, sources say he was involved in 2 separate mental health incidents, including one where he allegedly told police he was suicidal. Despite that and a 2023 trespass arrest, his permit stayed valid. Phil Ramos is a former senior homicide detective in Las Vegas.
What does being a CCW holder get you?
It gets you the ability to go get a weapon without the usual background check. So, a citizen who's not had a CCW or a background check goes in and wants to buy a handgun, He's not going to get it an hour later. You got to come back after you've been checked.
Today, detectives will speak with the suspect's parents at their home. We've learned the gunman's dad is a former officer. An LAPD spokesman says in 2017 he retired in good standing.
And we are here in the co-worker's neighborhood again because we want to hear his side. We have not been able to make contact with him yet, but police do tell us that he is the gunman's former boss. They worked together at the casino, and he sold him the rifle for $1,400. We're told that he is cooperating with law enforcement right now, and he has not been arrested or charged with anything as of yet.
Masa, we know New York has some of the strictest gun laws in the country. That is not the case in Nevada. Are any changes planned for that state?
So, Jessica, a new law just went into effect this month, which makes it easier to confiscate the weapons of someone in the midst of a mental health episode. I'm going to break that down for you coming up tonight at 6.
All right, Masa Saidi, live in Las Vegas. Thank you.
This one's surprising. Ken Klippenstein reporting that a majority of Democrats just voted to deny arms sales to Israel. Now, once again, it's going to pass. About 5 minutes ago, a majority of Democratic senators voted for a resolution to block offensive arms sales to Israel. That's a sign that the tide is turning. I would have never, even tonight, I would have never fucking guessed half of them would vote for it. So, shit. I know it's too little, it's too late, but fuck. That's at least somewhat encouraging. The party seems to be waking up, and rather quickly, the tide is turning over like the last month. After being obstinate about it for fucking what? 2 years now? Fucking decades. That's also a good point, DJ Dub. They knew their vote wouldn't have an effect. But I'm sure it would still raise the ire of AIPAC. A California high school is suing over a leaked bullying photo.
On this breaking story, Jennifer.
Yeah, Glenn and Lou, this is big news, especially for sports fans who adore him. Take a look. This happened back allegedly in 2021 to 2022.
Wait a minute, this is something about this is that other story about the gambling charges. Apparently some news rundown thing. I got catfished.
Their service in the Bay Area says a tsunami advisory remains in effect for portions
We already did all these stories.
Coast.
Civil lawsuit.
Yes, this is the story.
Student is filing a civil lawsuit against the school district over allegations of bullying and harassment. The student has been identified by the family attorney as 15-year-old PJ. The attorney claims another student.
Now you know I'm not a pre-watch Andy.
Shower and then distributed the images among classmates. Her family says the incident was reported to the school and police, but school officials did not take any action. Afterward, they say PJ was harassed and bullied over the incident.
It was a really traumatizing and embarrassing experience for me. It has changed me, matured me. I'm constantly looking over my shoulder, wondering who knows what about me, who has seen what about me. I was called a liar, a manipulator. People told me what I experienced wasn't real, and people who saw the pictures laughed at me.
The superintendent of the Las Vegas Unified School District released a statement saying, quote, student safety is our #1 priority. When the allegations of off-campus conduct were brought to our administration's attention, we immediately reported the matter to the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. LASD took the matter seriously and assigned it to the Special Victims Unit, which conducted a full investigation.
New horror just dropped for you. Are you ready for radioactive wasps? Radioactive wasp nest found at South Carolina site where U.S. once made nuclear bombs. Workers at a site in South Carolina that once made key parts for nuclear bombs in the U.S. have found a radioactive wasp nest. But officials say there's no danger to anyone. I want video. I want video of this. Do we have local reporting on this?
New on WIFF News 4 today. Yes. Now we've seen everything. A radioactive wasp nest was discovered in South Carolina. According to a report from the U.S. Department of Energy, on July 3rd, crews found the nest at the Savannah River Site nuclear facility in Aiken. Officials say the hive was sprayed to kill the wasps, and later probes revealed the nest had a moderately high level of radiation at 1,000 DPM. That wasp nest is considered on-site legacy radioactive contamination, and it's not related to a loss of contamination control. Legacy radioactive contamination is lingering radioactive contamination resulting from past activities. DOE didn't list any other cause for the insect's contamination, and at this time, some good news, they don't think the surrounding area is contaminated.
We don't think the surrounding area is contaminated. Apparently, Sydney. Now, I, for the last few days, have been reluctant to talk about this because I didn't think it was important enough for me to bring up on my goddamn joke show called The Troll Patrol. But out here at Fox News, they apparently think it's big enough to talk about on one of their biggest shows. Here's Harris Faulkner talking about the jeans commercial featuring Sydney Sweeney that has everybody in an outrage.
The woke outrage over Sydney Sweeney's ad has gone from, well, bad to worse.
Once again, this is I bet they knew what they were doing. They did this on purpose because they knew they could get free publicity on Fox News. This is called outrage marketing. If you'll remember the Pepsi commercial where one of the Jenners gave a Pepsi to the cop during it was the precursor to BLM. It was like the hands up, don't shoot movement. They knew what they were doing. They knew that they had an apology written and everything. So I absolutely believe that whatever ad agency put this together knew what they were saying and if you listen to it, it sounds kind of 14's Wordjust, yes. About how like it's in her jeans and shit.
Cancel Mob is still fuming over the superstar's new ad campaign for American Eagle, and just take a look at the headlines. Sydney Sweeney's ad shows an unbridled cultural shift toward whiteness. Ad sparks debate about eugenics. Sydney Sweeney's new campaign draws fire for racial undertones. And it was inevitable. Well, it doesn't stop there. ABC's Good Morning America compared it to, cue the Nazi word.
We begin with the backlash over a new ad campaign featuring actress Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah, the ads are for American Eagle, and the tagline is, Sydney Sweeney has great genes. Now, in one ad, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed actress talks about genes as in DNA being passed down from her parents.
The play on words is being compared to...
There is a poll in the chat for what you would like to watch after the news.
The pun, good
for Twitch people,
activates troubling historical associations for this country. The American eugenics movement in its prime between like 1900 and 1940 weaponized the idea of good genes just to justify white supremacism.
We all get genes from our parents and their parents. Now the white House is weighing in. They have had enough of this woke mob.
Now listen. Harris Faulkner has some gorgeous eyes. She can absolutely be my GOP mommy. Is that how you get eyes like that? Botox?
Communications Director Stephen Chung put this on X. Cancel culture run amok. The warp moronic and dense liberal thinking is a big reason why Americans voted the way they did in 2024.
This dude's like a White House spokesperson.
Kennedy, I feel like
I wouldn't care if she was mad or smiling at me.
lecture us on a lot of things.
All right. I'm going in on this orgy couch. I'll let Gilmead fuck me in the ass. I'm into this one. I'm kind of attracted to Kennedy. She can absolutely be my GOP mommy. I'm really attracted to Harris Faulkner. I have no idea who she is, but she rocks the yellow, and then she could watch.
How to be a woman? How do they do?
I'll titty slap her.
What a woman is. How to be white or black? Like what is this?
In addition to the implication that Sydney Sweeney is Joseph Mengele reincarnate, I'm also very angry that there's not enough body positivity in these ads because she doesn't weigh 600 pounds.
Oh man, this is a close one tonight on the poll.
She's pretty positive and
maybe I gave you too many options.
In her own body, and that's one of the reasons that she is an attractive spokesperson, because she's doing this with a wink and a nod. She's actually doing this very tongue-in-cheek because she has a great sense of humor. And the backlash has kind of helped American Eagle. They're down their stock is down a little bit today, but at the beginning of the ad campaign, at the beginning of the week, they were up over 10%. I think there's a little bit of a sell-off there. People are trying to make some gains, but they knew what they were doing, and they shouldn't shy away from this because the Gen Zers who have been lectured to by millennials, they're eating it up. Because you know what they want to do? There was one fashion critic who called this a regressive campaign. They're sick of progressives. So if we can regress to a time in this country where we actually had fun, that's what Gen Zers want, and this is who the ads are appealing to.
That is so true, and that makes me think of Brooke Shields.
Yeah.
Because everybody wanted those jeans. I mean, everybody wanted Calvins. And it was about the beauty of that woman. And if we go back to that point, how can that not be a good thing? Brian, I'm sure you owned those jeans.
I can't admit to that now, but I will say Martha has confided to me in the past that she bought jeans because Ron Duguay wore them in the 1980s. Sassoon jeans, am I right, Martha?
I don't know what you're talking about, but that's okay. But I probably did buy Brooke Shields Calvin Klein jeans.
Right? You did?
Yeah.
All right. But by the way, the Babylon Bee had it great. You see their headline? A federal judge orders Sydney Sweeney to gain 100 pounds and get one of those butch haircuts. That's exactly how ridiculous all this is. That. Right, and I just think, I don't think there's anything wrong with attractive people being in commercials. That used to be, we used to do things.
There are a lot of attractive people on TV.
Right.
Kennedy, Emily, look at Martha, and you're okay too. Oh,
in a way. I'm just saying. Ron Duguay had a Sassoon jeans, and he was married to Carol Alt for a while.
Yeah, do you remember that?
Right.
Yes.
I mean, there is an unbelievable Beyonce ad in.
All these got to run to the store, get us some vodka and condoms for the orgy couch.
It just grabs my attention. It's like this beautiful ad. You know, all these people represent all these products. When you go back and look at the Brooke Shields controversy,
we've got a tie right now in the poll.
Viewers will remember.
There's a tie between police chase and whose line is it anyway?
Where she talks about her good genes. Right. And she talks about genes and how they change over generations and everything. I thought, oh my gosh, what would they do with this ad? They should go back and look at it. But this is genius. All of this is taken exactly from the Cindy Crawford ad. It's taken from the Brooke Shields campaign. American Eagle knew exactly what they're doing. They're getting a ton of attention that they never would have gotten otherwise.
Yeah, they played you guys.
With those words.
They played you.
You know, this is going to sell a lot of jeans. I'll tell you that.
Emily, I just don't know if we want this crowd lecturing us.
Yeah, and look, I actually took this, in addition to, I hear everything you guys are saying, I took this as sort of a return to the natural body, to first of all, an actual biological woman. I think that's a breath of fresh air for once. What we are seeing is something that God created, regardless of skin color, of anything. It's just something that is natural. And I think for quite some
Apparently God didn't create trans people.
Manufactured.
Libertad says police chase.
Where money has purchased and, you know,
I'm adding Libertad's vote in.
Women's bodies into.
But you got to come over to Twitch.
Like sculpting right? And we saw that with a lot of reality TV and a certain reality TV family that is sort of dominated what a body should look like for women, and it's frankly unattainable. And so to see here what I saw is just a natural young woman, to me, that's what the breath of fresh air was. And I think these younger generations are grateful for that, and also that the ad itself was a breath of fresh air and that it was just simple.
And it makes people mad. And that's all you want.
Oh, mad about the ad sell stuff.
Oh, that's why Trump's
like
people weighed in. They love this. This is right up their alley.
Yeah.
And they only wish it would happen next year, so closer to the midterms. Because it's the same thing. It's like one of the trans issues. 90% of the country has no problem with it. It's the 10% that created the news.
All right, we're going to move.
Want even more Fox News on YouTube? Become a Fox.
Nobody wants more Fox News. Shut the fuck up, Kilmeade. Fox News will rot people's brains. Let's see the babies get some treats on the puppy bus. That's what we need right now. You got a couple minutes left on the poll to vote. Right now, Police Chase is winning.
Riding with Mo Mountain Mugs. Would you guys like a complimentary?
Whose line is it anyway? Nathan for you. Penn and Teller. Nobody picked the awful truth, but you might not know what it is.
She's about to find out what this puppy bus is all about. In the back here, we have fish.
I'm just going to put it on one night. You guys are going to find out what the awful truth is.
The new kid, Callie.
Kelly's so cute.
Here we have Chum. And Sadie.
I'll be your chum.
Here we have Lumi. And
oh, is there something wrong with Lumi's eye?
In front of her is Echo.
Oh, hi, Echo. You're so well behaved.
Emma. Over here we have Carl.
White boy Carl.
Louie. And we have Loch Ness.
Loch Ness. Oh, look how well behaved he is.
Please stay in your seats till we get to your house. Pause to yourself. Tails out of the aisles. Up here we have Loch Ness. You are sitting in the emergency exit. Are you willing and capable of offloading the pups in a remote chance of an emergency?
He is.
He says no, but Carl is ready.
Oh, Carl's ready. White boy Carl.
Change seats with Carl. You don't look super prepared.
Ah, that was adorable.
Thank you for riding with Mo Mountain Mugs. Would you guys like a
You got like a minute left in the poll if you want to vote.
with your bus ride?
You've gotten to the end of the puppy bus video.
Find out what this puppy bus is all about. In the back here, we
Right now, Police Chase is leading. I gotta go find one. There hasn't been one since the last one I showed. Lucky for me, I do have a
the new
playlist.
kid, Callie. Dasher. Here we have Chum.
Yum!
Sadie. Here we have Lumi. And next to her is Daishu.
Daishu.
In front of her is Echo. And here we have Bama. Over here we have Carl. Louis. And we have Loch Ness.
If you're watching on Twitch, stick with us. We're going to do a police chase and music. If you're watching on YouTube, Kick, Rumble,
House, cause to yourself.
any of those other platforms, the podcast. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN. We'll see you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol Live. Friday night, we'll do music requests. Saturday, I'm taking off. No wrestling on Saturday because I'm going to be watching actual wrestling. I'm going to cut the Kick people off. Sorry, War Machine. Twitch people, stick with me. Switch the graphics. Turn the music on. Change the title. Got us a police chase ready to go here. This was from 6 years ago. Really fresh. Really fresh. Of course it happened in LA. Don't be silly.